They say most traders lose money, and it's not because they don't get the markets, it's because they just can't wait. Jim Rogers once said, "I just wait until there's money lying in the corner, and all I have to do is go over and pick it up." And then you have Mark Weinstein, who takes it a step further. He trades like a cheetah, waiting for that perfect, can't-miss opportunity. So today, we're going to dive into how that kind of patience can turn into serious profit, and why your next big win might actually come from doing nothing at all until that one perfect moment arrives.
It sounds almost too simple, doesn't it? Like you're just finding loose change in the couch cushions. But this has nothing to do with luck. This is a whole philosophy built on inaction, and it flies in the face of that classic image of the hyperactive, always-on trader, and it's a secret that some of the greatest who ever play the game swear by. So what's the big problem that these masters both spotted? Well, it's that nagging feeling, that psychological itch that you always need to be doing something. This constant urge to be in the market, to have a position open, is probably the single biggest threat to a trader's account balance.
And this quote from Rogers, man, it just nails it. That feeling right after a loss, that voice in your head screaming, "You gotta win it back, right now." Well, that's called revenge trading. And according to Rogers, listening to that voice, giving in to that panic, is a one-way ticket to blowing up your account. That exact moment of panic is when he says you should be sitting on your hands doing absolutely nothing.
So let's take a closer look at the masters of this waiting game. We've got Jim Rogers and Mark Weinstein. These guys built legendary careers on the incredibly difficult art of doing nothing until everything lines up just right. So how did they do it?
Just look at the powerful analogies they use for the exact same idea. Rogers is the calm opportunist. He sees free money just sitting there. Weinstein, on the other hand, is a predator. He's a cheetah, not just waiting for any prey, but the weakest, sickest one. One approach feels passive, the other feels aggressive, but the core lesson is identical. You wait for a setup that is so good, it feels like you can't possibly lose. So this means we have to completely reframe what a professional trader even looks like. It's not the guy clicking buttons 100 times a day. It's the person who might only make 3 or 4 trades in an entire year. But every single one of those trades is a high-conviction, perfectly timed shot. The real work isn't the trading, it's the waiting. So when does all this patience transform into a legitimate superpower? It happens when the rest of the world starts to lose its mind. That's when chaos hits the market, and that's exactly where these guys find their absolute best opportunities. For most people, when the market is in a free fall, the answer is obvious. Run, sell everything, get to cash. But for Rogers and Weinstein, that panic is like a dinner bell ringing. It's a huge, flashing signal that a massive opportunity might be just around the corner. Their move is to lean in and start paying very close attention. This really is the core of Rogers' contrarian mindset. He's basically arguing that mass hysteria is almost always a huge overreaction. But you have to catch the most important part of that sentence, if you can stick it out. And believe me, that's the hard part. It requires a rock-solid plan, but it's not about being a contrarian just for the sake of it. He has a process. Step 1, the chaos on the chart gets his attention. Step 2, and this is the most important part, he ignores the noise and dives into the fundamentals. Is this panic actually justified? Is the company really going to zero? Step 3, if the fact and the fear don't line up, he takes the other side of the trade. And step 4, he braces himself. He knows that things can, and often do, get even crazier before they turn around.
Now, you might be thinking, yeah, easy for them to say. But this wisdom wasn't something they were born with. It was paid for. Paid for with blood, sweat, and absolutely devastating losses early in their careers. They learned the value of patience by feeling the intense, gut-wrenching pain of impatience. Okay, let's take Mark Weinstein's story. He was already successful, and he saw this amazing castle in France he just had to have. So that price tag, 350 grand, became his new trading goal. Now, you see the mistake, right? Instead of listening to the market, he tried to force the market to give him what he wanted. A classic and very, very expensive error.
And the result of that castle-fueled ambition? A catastrophic $600,000 loss. He got caught in a soybean trade that went limit down for 5 days straight. That means the price fell so fast, the market shut down trading. He literally couldn't sell. All he could do was sit there and watch his account just bleed out, day after day. I mean, just let that sink in. Wounded in a trench and watching myself bleed to death. This perfectly captures the feeling. It wasn't just losing money. It was the absolute, total loss of control. The trauma of being trapped in a financial nosedive with nothing you can do about it. An experience like that, it changes you. It changed his entire approach to risk forever. But here's the crucial lesson he took from it. He didn't blame bad luck. He didn't blame the market. He took complete ownership. He knew the loss was his fault. It happened because he was inexperienced and because he let the dream of a castle cloud his judgment. That shift in mindset, from victim to being responsible, that was everything. And Jim Rogers had his own trial by fire. He shorted a stock called Memorex because he'd done the research and was absolutely sure the company was a dud. And you know what? He was right. The problem was the market didn't agree with him. At least not at first. The stock just kept going up, and it completely wiped him out. Only after he was forced to cover his short with a total loss did the stock finally collapse to almost nothing. He had the right idea, but his timing and his risk management were wrong. And in trading, that's the only thing that matters. So you see, both of these stories hammer home the exact same painful lesson. The market's ability to be completely irrational will always be greater than your ability to financially withstand it. You can be 100% dead right on an idea and still go completely broke. And it was this brutal realization that forged their superpower of patience. All right, so let's pull this all together. We've heard the philosophy, we've heard the horror stories. So what does this mindset actually look like in practice? Well, we can distill the shared wisdom of Rogers and Weinstein into a clear, simple playbook for anyone who wants to become a more patient trader. Here it is, the playbook. Number 1, master the art of doing nothing. Just wait for that perfect pitch. 2, when you see panic, see opportunity, but only after you've done your homework. 3, flip your emotions. You should be fearful when a trade is going against you and hopeful when it's going your way, not the other way around. 4, learn how to lose. Study your mistakes. That's where you pay your tuition in the market. And finally, numbers 5 and 6 are really the same thing. Never follow the crowd. Think for yourself. If a trade seems obvious and everyone agrees on it, it's probably time to walk away. And here's the great paradox of it all. Like Rogers says, none of this is exactly rocket science. These principles are logical, they're simple, they're almost obvious when you write them down. But having the discipline to actually follow them, especially when your money is on the line and emotions are running high, well, that's what's astonishingly rare. And that, right there, is the edge. So, the final question we're left with isn't just about trading. It's about how we make all kinds of big decisions. These masters found incredible success by developing an almost superhuman patience, by waiting for that one single can't-lose moment. So the question I want to leave you with is this. In your own life, are you acting on every impulse, or are you patiently waiting for the money to be lying there in the corner?